All right. I don't know if this is better. I don't know if it's the same, but if you can at least hear me, we'll muddle through, even if the sound isn't perfect. So let's see. Anybody that was there before and you're there now, how we doing? How's the sound now? This is perfect. Byron, I trust you. Don't be lying to me. Does it sound like normal now, or does it sound like I'm okay? So all I had to do is reconnect to the internet. Oh, thank you. Oh, boy, you guys, you're all too wonderful. I just rebooted everything. I tore the thing out of the wall. We started again, and here we are. So, I need a drink. Now, I hope you all aren't just saying this because you know what a quitter I am. And you know that I have a tendency to just go, I'm done for the day. Okay? All right. Well, Byron, dude, you and me, I got to trust you. I got to trust I trust you, okay, on the tech stuff. So let's be clear about this. All right, welcome into the show. It is the, what is it? It's Monday, the 24th day of, you know what? No, I got to start it over for real. I got to do it for real. Welcome into the High Noon Show. I am Pugs Moran. This is the first of two streams that we do. Pillow Talk comes on at 9 o'clock. That's Pugs and Parker. That's a little bit less formatted. This is all about current events, trending topics, all the things that people are talking about out there. If it's trending on any of the platforms, if it's headlining on any of the newspapers or any of the news shows, we try to get you all prepped up here. With that stuff. So, you at least have some modicum of confidence in the idea that you know what's happening in the world. That's what we do here, and that's what we're going to do now. Fix the priest look. I see. I fixed the priest look, but that was, hi, Steve. That wasn't nearly as important as the audio issue. And you know what, you guys aren't crazy, because one of the things I did was I went to YouTube and I just looked at what I had just recorded, and I'm like, I don't know, man, but whatever. As long as it seems to be working now, I am pleased. 24th day of the year, Monday, January the 24th. I already said 341 more days left in the year, blah, 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 blah. Oh, you know what I don't have, though, now? I don't have all, because I rebooted, I don't have all of the things that I have open. So give me a second now to redo all the things that I do moments before I sign on the air. Things like, I don't know, pulling up the audio pages, doing that kind of stuff. I had a heck of a weekend. I had such a good weekend. It was weekend with the kid. And, I was thinking about this as I was driving him. I drove him to school, and then I drop him off from school on Mondays. And I was driving back today, and I was just thinking about some of the things that we had laughed about this weekend, because that's pretty much all me and my kid do, is we just try and crack each other up. That's why you're not exactly the disciplinarian, are you? Oh no, I am. We got into a big fight this weekend too, but the good times far outweighed the bad times. I was thinking on the ride back today, man, I mean, I would, if I had a daughter, I would love her. I mean, come on, right? I mean, you don't like, I don't like that one because it's not my preferred gender. But I really wanted a boy, and I got a boy. And I am so glad that I have a boy, because, and God bless you girl dads out there, but you guys are operating in a whole different universe than me and my boy are. I mean, it's got to be so much. I don't know that I could relate to a little girl. I think the Christmas presents would be a lot worse, because I wouldn't know, you know what I mean? It'd be like, but at least with my, I know what my kid wants. Like, if I go to a store, I'm like, oh, he's going to love that, because he's a little boy. And, well, he's not a little boy anymore. He's 12. He's huge now. I found that out when he started wrestling with me yesterday. He pinned me, and he's like, come on, you can get up. And I really couldn't. He had me in like a lock, like a jiu-jitsu lock. I couldn't get up. My back was hurting. I'm old. I'm like, oh, I can't do that. My back hurts. But all we did all weekend was we laid around and we watched football and we made fun of each other all week. That's all we did. We just had the best lazy football watching, playoff round, championship season, whatever, postseason, whatever you want to call it. And I was just driving back to that. I was thinking, man, I would love my daughter. I would be a completely different dad, of course, because you have to be, because they're different. But man, I'm so glad I got a boy, because we have a truce. We've decided that we will now, this is a truce, and this is a war that has been going on for, oh my God, at least 5 or 6 years. We have a truce, and we will no longer fart on one another. Truce was called this weekend. No more pinning the other down and then farting on them. We won't be doing that anymore. Feelings were hurt this weekend. Somebody went a little too far. By somebody, I mean me, but still, we we shook on it. We will never fart. I know it's gross, Leslie. I know, but that's what boys do. That's especially when one of them is 12 and the other one is, their maturity has been stunted. But you should all be pleased to know that we've found. We've made a peace accord, and we will no longer be although he tested it, because the rule is you can't intentionally fart on the other person. And he tested that with some crop dusting. And I said, you know what? I guess technically you weren't farting on me, but you came in here specifically to stand next to me. Tell me, it's what he does. He walks in and he's like, Dad, I just want to tell you that I love you. And when he says that, I go, get out of here. I know what you're doing. I know. And then sure enough, he leaves, and it's like, oh my God, what have you been eating? So that was our weekend. We laid around. We argued, we made fun of each other, and we watched football. We watched the most amazing football games. Oh, and I'm so glad he likes football. I mean, if my kid didn't like football, I'd be like, oh God. And then you know what we did? You know what we did last night? You know how we ended it? We ended our weekend. We climbed into bed after the Buffalo Bills Kansas City game, and we watched Stripes. Stripes. That's right. My 12-year-old saw Stripes for the first time. Didn't want to see it. He was like, Dad, why do you always make me watch these movies? I go, when have I made you watch a movie and you didn't go, Dad, that was a good movie? You've never done it. So he fought me a little bit on Stripes. But we ended up watching Stripes. We didn't get to bed till 11 o'clock last night, on a school night, no less. And we ended up watching Stripes, and he laughed through the whole thing. He loves John Candy now. He loves Dewey Oxburger. And there were some boob scenes. Yes, there were. He's 12, And look, I don't delude myself into thinking that a boy who is growing up in the internet age doesn't have access to seeing boobs whenever the hell he wants, because he can, But there was a boob scene, and I turned to him and I go, what do you think? This is fine. It'll be over quickly. And he goes, Dad, those are 80s boobs. They don't count. And I'm like, well, I guess you're right. I guess 80s boobs don't count. So that's what we did. We had a good weekend. I hope you guys all had a good weekend as well. Hey, what do you start? Yes, let's start this. Let's do this. Let's start with a little moment of joy, something that we can get behind before we jump into everything that everybody is talking about here. Now, here's your moment of joy, right? You see that? Look at that. Here's the moment of joy. This is what this is all about. Here we go. Okay. This is a koala bear. Who doesn't like koala bears, right? Koala bears are like nature's little mistake. No, I guess that would be the platypus. The platypus would be nature's little. Koala bears are just adorable. Do you know what a koala bear sounds like? I didn't. Let's learn what a koala bear sounds like.
Burly boy, burly boy.
Listen to this.
Burly boy.
That noise. So there you go.
Burly boy.
There you go. How about that? Now you know what a koala bear sounds like. I didn't know what a koala bear sounded like, but that's what they sound like. I know, right? April? Scary. It's... Okay, let's get into some of the things that happened on this day in history. I still haven't settled on a cool name for this. On this day in 1908, the very first Boy Scout troop is organized in England. Didn't you think it was an American thing? I did. I always thought it was an American thing. It's not. It's an English thing. I thought right? I swear that the Boy Scout seems like a totally American thing. It's not. It was formed on this day in 1908 in England. I was never a Boy Scout. I came close to being a Cub Scout, but thankfully my mother, and I say thankfully because that's not my scene. I'm not an outdoors guy, I don't want to. My idea of camping is staying in a hotel where the doors open up to the parking lot. That's camping for me. My idea of camping is staying in a hotel that doesn't have room service. That's camping to me. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to sleep outside. That's just not my thing. Excuse me. Byron Granger says, so tomorrow's date, the first molestation. How dare you, sir? What a dark subject to introduce when we're celebrating the birth of the Boy Scouts in England. It's an English thing. My mom didn't make me be I signed up for Cub Scouts and I thought maybe it was a good idea. And then on the day of going to the first meeting, I don't know, maybe I was being lazy, but I was like, yeah, I don't really want to do this, Ma. I don't really want to I don't really want to be a Cub Scout. And she was cool with it. So, I think she figured I'm already spending a lot of time around the Catholic Church. Maybe we don't need to tempt fate. Maybe we don't need. I'm already fatherless. Being raised by a single mom. In the eyes of molesters, I am like a prime target. I think she was fine. She got me in football. Yeah, so that was our compromise. I didn't do Cub Scouts, but I did football. Also on this day in 1935, Gottfried Kruger Brewing Company starts selling the first can of beer. Look at that. First canned beer was on this day in 1935. So was it bottles before, I guess? Or just like when you see in those old, just like ladles. Just here, have a ladle of beer. Have a ladle of warm, flat beer that's been in a bucket in the sun. Ugh. We should appreciate the fact that we are at the peak of beer consumption. We've got refrigeration is a thing. They can krausening is a thing. I don't know what that means. Whatever. Beechwood aging. We've got ways that we make beer now. We are at the peak of beer drinking. Although in 1,000 years, people are going to be like, what? They drank what? Fermented what? On this day in 1972, this is a fun one. On this day, well, not for Japanese Sergeant Sochi-Yoki. On this day in 1972, Sochi-Yoki is found hiding in a Guam jungle where he had been since the end of World War II. This guy was... Okay, so World War II ended in 1940. Oh God, I should know this. 45, maybe 44, somewhere in there. So let's say he's a sergeant. Let's say he's at least 30 in 1944. So 44, 54, 64, 74. He was 1,000,000 years old. Imagine that. This guy, I'm not going to do the math, folks. I'm not going to do it. So this guy was he was hiding in the jungle. We always hear these stories, right? About these, there's still Japanese World War II guys hiding in the jungles in the Philippines. No, they're not. They're out dead now. They've been beaten to death by monkeys or something. But imagine that. Imagine you spend 72, so 40, 50, so you 30 years almost. You spend 30 years just living in the jungle thinking that the war is still going on. Or maybe he didn't. Maybe he just, after a year or two of hiding, that just he became like Grizzly Adams. That became his life. I don't know. But that was on this day in 1972. Didn't you want to see his expression when it's explained to him that he's just wasted the last 30 years of it? He could have been dating. He could have been starting a family. He could have done things. But no, he's still wearing the same uniform he's had for 30 years, living in a jungle in Guam. On this day in 1989, serial killer Ted Bundy was executed by electric chair at the Florida State Prison. Now, I do not believe in capital punishment. I believe that if somebody does something that violates the rules of society, that they just become human veal. It's just the price we pay for a civilized society. Ape don't kill ape, they said in Planet of the Apes, and that's kind of how I feel about it. Ape don't kill ape. So just put them in a tuna can, seal it up, and just, give them 3 meals a day, whatever, bread and water. I don't care. Look, we can debate about the way you treat them, but the whole idea of killing, well, but Pugs, you're godless. How can you? Well, I might be godless in your eyes, but I do have a certain moral code, and ape don't kill ape. Electric chair too. That's like who invented the? That's a jacked up way to try and kill somebody, right? I mean, I imagine it was around the time when electricity was just coming in, and they went, I bet we could kill people with it. And they just ran with it. That just became the way, the electric chair. Ooh, that has to be, of all the ways that we have executed people in, lopping the head off with a guillotine. Firing squad, being hung, being hung is bad too. Unless they make the noose properly and it snaps your neck the way it's supposed to immediately, then it's pretty quick, severs your spinal cord. You don't really feel anything. You're just like, whoa. But electric chair, oh my God, your eyes pop out. Forget it. But Ted Bundy got that. And, look, if somebody's got to get it, may as well be Ted Bundy. On this day in 2018, former Dr. Larry Nasser is sentenced up to 175 years in prison after being found guilty of using his position to sexually abuse female gymnasts. That's a gross story. That's not a good one. Plane crashes? Oh, we got plane crashes. We got plane crashes aplenty. Actually, just 2 today. On this day in 1960? Hold on, I lost my place. We'll find it. On this day in, we'll get to your birthday, dude. Don't worry. On this day in 1961, a Goldsboro B-52 crashed. It was a bomber carrying 2 hydrogen bombs. Breaks up in midair over North Carolina. And the uranium core of one of the bombs was lost forever. So there's some hillbilly in North Carolina that's got some pretty explosive material. Also on this day in 1966, Air India Flight 101 crashes into Mont Blanc. I don't know, where's Mont Blanc? I don't care. I don't care that much. Do you care that much? I don't care that much. We're already running a little bit late today. We're behind schedule. Birthdays. Happy birthday, Neil Diamond, born on this day in 1941. Pugs, what's your take on Neil Diamond? He's pretty cool. I got no issues with Neil Diamond. I got issues with the Boston Red Sox and the whole Sweet Caroline singing and all that. But, if you remove the Red Sox from that equation, that's a fun song. That's a good song. I like, you ever seen the jazz singer where he played, he played like a Jewish cantor who was, that's like a guy who sings in a Jewish temple. He was a Jewish cantor who wanted to become a pop star, and I guess his rabbi dad was against it. That's what the we're coming to America today. That's a pretty good movie. I guess. I don't know. I saw it when I was like 12, but I didn't hate it. So Neil Diamond. I like Neil Diamond. There we go. I've decided I like Neil Diamond. Almost a monkey, didn't you know? Did you know Neil Diamond was almost in the Monkees, but instead he just wrote all their songs. Also born on this day, Aaron Neville, American singer, part of the Neville brothers. That's the guy with the thing, right? The thing on his face. He's really big and buff. And then he sings like a real pretty girl. He's got a real high, Pugs, you got a high voice. Yeah, I know I do, but I can't sing like Aaron Neville. But he's got that thing on his face. I mean, can you get that? You're Aaron Neville. If you're Aaron Neville, maybe you don't care. Because, you sing like an angel. Pugs, name an Aaron Neville song. Can't do it. I just know he's a thing. I can't name an Aaron Neville song. Born on this day in 1949. Oh, one of the greats. Died on this day. Not died on this day, but died in 1982. John Belushi. Happy, I guess it's not a birthday anymore because you died 40 years ago, but Whatever. John Belushi, born on this day in 1949. Another guy, another comedic legend who is still very much alive. Yakov Smirnoff. Yakov Smirnoff. Do you guys remember when Yakov Smirnoff was a thing in my country? You know, that was his whole bit. His whole bit was destroyed when the Cold War ended. Like he was a Russian stand-up comedian who defected, I guess. I don't know. I mean, look, maybe he was from Tennessee. Who knows? Maybe that was all just an act. But Yakov Smirnoff purported to be a defector, a Russian comedian who, you know, I guess not a lot of comedy over there back then, but he came over here and his entire bit was, in my country, you know, it's just always, I couldn't even tell you a Yakov Smirnoff joke. But his catchphrase was, what a country. He was almost like Borat before. Yes, in Russia, wallets carry you. What the country. Leslie says he's now playing in Branson, Missouri. Good for him. You know what? He seemed like a fine guy. He seemed like a nice guy. A little bit corny, I think, you know. I think whatever. But happy birthday to you, Yakov Smirnoff. How old would he be? 70 years old? 71? 70, something like that. Born on this day. Oh, another comedian. This is the day of the comedians. Born on this. Now, this guy. This guy is cool. I love this guy. Born on this day in 1974, Ed Helms. Andy from The Office. God, I love Andy from The Office. Ed Helms just has this entire vibe where he's just so, I mean, he's a little bit, when Andy first was introduced on The Office, my first impression was, oh no, he's doing a Michael Scott impression. Like I thought he was just like another kind of version of Michael Scott, the Steve Carell character. But then he sort of developed his own thing, which was just equally as fantastic as Michael Scott. Happy birthday, Ed Helms. I love you. Ed Helms, by the way, is the executive producer of a very, very funny Netflix series that me and my son love. It's called Auntie Donna's House of Fun. And they're like these New Zealand comedy sketch group. They're from New Zealand. And Ed Helms discovered them, and so he produced a Netflix show for him, and it's called Auntie Donna's House of Fun. They are so funny. Me and my kid love them. We love them. And there's a bit where Ed Helms is in it, and the Auntie Donna guys come to Hollywood to meet with their executive producer, and Ed Helms meets with them because he's their executive producer, and they keep calling him Ed, and Ed Helms starts to claim that his name is actually Egg Helms, and he can't believe that everybody's been mispronounced. Very funny. Pugs, you just ruined the joke. For anybody that wants to watch Auntie Donna's House of Fun, you just ruined the whole Egg Helms bit. I know, I apologize. Happy birthday, Egg Helms. What is today? Let's find out what today is before we get rolling into the... A lot of people died today. Pugs, don't you sometimes do people die? A lot of people died today. Winston Churchill died today. The aforementioned Ted Bundy died today. Who else? Larry Fine from the Three Stooges died today. Honestly, there were too many people who I was interested in talking about that I went, well, that's a whole show in and of itself. Today, the 24th of January, is Beer Can Appreciation Day. Beer Can Appreciation Day. Why? Well, because today, the first beer can, when we already covered that and what happened today. Not a beer can guy. I like beer in a bottle. I prefer it in a bottle. I get so, well, I mean, I don't throw a tantrum, but I always go, like when you go to a bar and I'm like, let me get a Bud Light. And they go, oh, we only have it in cans. Is that all right? I always go, okay. You know, it's like such a, I don't know why. I feel like a bottle stays colder, and it probably doesn't, but it just feels like it does. And a bottle drinks easier. And then with a beer can, I don't know. Have you ever had a party where you serve beer cans and then you clean up afterwards and you realize that nobody finishes a full can of beer? Nobody. There's always like this much sludge left in the bottom of the can of beer. So when you try and clean up, you're just like constant. You're in a backyard with just cans of beer, just pouring out the sludge. Today, the 24th of January, is also National Compliment Day. And don't you all look spectacular? Don't you all in the chat room? Look at you. Look, let me tell you something. I do this every day, and I do it, and I would do it if there were two people. Well, probably not. But I do it because you people, especially you fine folks, you awesome people who show up in the chat room every single day. I really appreciate it, and I think you're awesome. It's for you. National Compliment Day. So get out there and compliment somebody today. I try to do that all the time anyway. It's part of like a couple of years ago, I kind of tried to change who I was, and I tried to be like just friendlier and nicer and be more, you know what it was? It was when my kid started to become a little human being. And I tried to convince him that, there's no shame in being nice. There's every single, like we used to do this thing where he used to have a running total where when I would talk to him at night, I'd say, how many people did you make smile today? We used to do like a smile count. And so now he still does it. And I love it. I'm so proud of him. Like we'll be in a convenience store and he'll be up at the register and he'll just make some kind of a comment to the person behind the counter. And then we'll walk out and he'll go, made her smile. I go, put that one down. I got another smile today. It's not just something. So it's easy to compliment people. You just got to not be within your own self a little bit more and recognize that you can make people feel good. And it's so easy. And if you're putting that energy out there, oh God, Pugs, you suck. You sound like a cornball asshole. You know what? There are so many assholes out there. I mean, it's not bad. Trust me, it's not a bad thing to just put a little bit of positivity out there. Compliment people. Hey, oh my God. You know what you want to know the easy one is? Every day we encounter people that maybe they have some shoes that you like. Maybe they got a shirt on that's pretty cool. And don't overdo it. Don't be a weirdo, because if you overdo it, then it's like it doesn't mean anything. But when I see E's a great example. I compliment E. E's got like 1 million pairs of shoes, and they're almost always really cool. So like I always I'll look it up. Man, your shoes look great. Shoes are easy because I like shoes too. I'm like, man, your shoes are awesome. Those are really cool. Not hard. That's not hard to do. That's easy. That costs nothing. And I put it out there and that person feels good. That's all. So it's National Compliment Day. Get out there and compliment somebody. Make them feel good. You can do it. It's so easy. It's just putting a little bit of positivity out there and just a galaxy of just assholery. National Peanut Butter Day. I don't understand you people who don't like chunky peanut butter. I don't get it. My son likes creamy peanut butter. And I'm like, you are not my child. I don't. I mean, in a pinch, look, I like peanut butter. Peanut butter is just good. But I mean, if I'm having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I want the crunchy. I want the little peanuts in there. They get in your teeth. You get to pick them out. So happy National Peanut Butter Day. But only to those of you who like chunky peanut butter. The rest of you can go kick rocks. All right, let's get into what is happening today. Let's jump into the things that are trending. And boy, oh boy, are there things trending. Let's see here. What's going to jump out first? We should talk about this. What is the latest? Hold on, because this has not been great. Okay, let me refresh. Really? It's going to take this long to refresh? Been refreshing every 30 seconds all morning long. And now, all right. We are rallying. The stock market is trending today. The Dow Jones it was tanking. It was down 1,100 points like an hour ago, which is nuts. And now it's down 563 points. So, it made up its half of its losses. It's going up and down. And, people are making a big deal about it. The news is talking about it. The Dow is, look at CNN. They got the Dow Jones thing on CNN really big, just because that's what they're in the business of, freaking people out. But here's the deal with the stock market. This is why this is nothing. This is ridiculous. Do you realize that in 2005, you remember, not 2005, well, 2008, right? Yeah. 2008, when we had that really bad situation where the mortgage crisis went nuts and everybody lost everything and blah, blah, blah. In 2008, the stock market was at 6,000. 6,000. That's like the lowest it's been. 6,000. That's everybody was panicking. Everybody was freaking out, right? So if you're at 6,000 and you drop 500 points, holy cow, that's a big deal. The stock market is at, let's see where it's at right now. I'll tell you where it's at right now. Remember, 6,000, right? It's at 33,000. It's at 33. Okay, so a little bit more context for you. So in 2005, for the year, the stock market closed at 10,000, right? And then in 2008, that's when it dipped and it got as low as 6,000, but it closed out the year in 2008 at 8,000. So down 2,000 from 2005. But see, remember in 2005, people were like, money, money, money. We're at 10,000. The stock market is good. 15 years later, 36,000 is where it was. So in 2020, it went up to 36,000. So you drop 1,000 points on the stock market. Well, now it's 601. But look, get back to me when, it's down like under 10,000. That's when it's time to panic. It has gone, the stock market has tripled in 15 years. Tripled. Now, that doesn't mean a whole lot for you and me because most of us don't play the stock market at that level. This is a rich man's game, right? But you talk about the wealth gap in America, and people are like, don't feel bad for rich guys who are losing money in the stock market today because the stock market at the end of the day is still going to be above 30, and it was only at 10 in 2005, 3 times where it was in 15, 16, 17 years now. So I can't feel bad about the stock market. It's cranking. It has been cranking since 2011. Is that when it jumped up? Yeah, in 2011. 2009 after it dipped all the way down to 6, and then it began crawling up. And I'll never forget seeing an economist back in 2008, 2009, talking about the stock market. And the question that was asked to him, when do you think we'll be assuredly on the road to recovery? And the economist said, when we can stabilize at 10,000. We're at 33,000. We're fine, man. It's fine. The only people who are taking a beating today are day traders. So just sit tight, or, guys, at any rate, you and I, this is not a thing. This is not a thing. It's at 30,000. 15 years ago, super rich billionaire guys would have gone nuts at the idea that it was 15,000. It's at 30,000 now. So please stop it. The rich are super rich in this country, and a day like today is not going to end that. All right, let me see one more time. See where it's at. It is down 520 now. Oh, geez, it was just up 7. It went 200 points in like 30 seconds. It went down. Yeah. Okay, that's enough. Pugs, that's boring stuff. And honestly, we're not convinced that you really know what you're talking about here. Don't be. So just move on to something maybe you know about. Football is trending. Football. Woo! People. Oh, great. Screw you, soccer fans. The greatest sport in the universe is NFL postseason football. What a weekend. What an incredible weekend. 4 games. 3 of them were settled. Ties were settled by clock ticking down to 0 with field goals. 1 with field goals. 3 of the 4 games this weekend were all about the kicker. The kicker was the hero. Oh, and hopefully the fourth would do. The fourth was even better than those original three. That game last night, and God love my boy E. We all know he's like he's a general in the Bills Mafia. He is a nut when it comes to his Buffalo Bills. Born and raised in Buffalo, he's got all of the Buffalo gear. He is a Buffalo Bills fanatic. And we watched that game last night over in the big house. He had his son, I had my son, his wife was there. We had a great time. We ordered pizza and wings, and we just had a really nice evening watching that game. I feel so bad for my brother, man. He went through hell last night watching that game. I mean, I'm not gonna go through it all for you, because if you know, you know, and if you don't, you're probably hearing about it. But what a way to lose! What a way to lose! And can I just say this? And look, this isn't anything unique. A lot of people are saying this, but we were saying it last night. There were two primary things that stuck out about the way the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Buffalo Bills in overtime last night. One is, you can't have two teams that are just trading touchdowns back and forth the entire game, and then decide we're going to settle it with a coin flip. The overtime rule that says that if you score a touchdown on your first possession is bullshit. That is a bullshit rule. You got to give both offenses a chance. You got to give both that. Man, that sucks. And I get, it's your defense has got to step up. Come on, man. That is not the way that one of those teams should have lost yesterday. You're telling me that you didn't want to see the ball in Josh Allen's hand one more time? Give him a shot, man. That is not a way to go out. What a game, though. What an amazing game. And why didn't Tyreek Hill get flagged for taunting when he broke away on that? It wasn't even the last touchdown. Was it like the third to last touchdown where he broke away and then he gave the peace sign as he was running into the end zone? Well, I know that's his thing, but and he's been flagged before. Why wasn't he flagged for that? And what would a flag have meant in that situation? Would that I don't know. Doesn't matter. But holy crap. Hey, Bills Nation, man. Bills Mafia, you guys are awesome. You guys, and don't feel bad, because the Bills are good. They're going to be around for Josh Allen is good. I mean, that team is just, God, what a way to go out, huh? And then also, if we're going to talk a little bit about the, he's trending, so maybe we'll talk a little bit about him. But Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, just bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye, you guys. See you later. Ugh, so done. Let the new quarterbacks reign. Let the new guys take over. Let your like who, Pugs? Jimmy G? Well, okay, maybe not. Maybe not Jimmy G, but certainly Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. Ooh, is that going to be a game next weekend? Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, and Matt Stafford isn't a new guy, but isn't it nice to see Matt Stafford? And look, this is coming from a Bear fan, right? I hate the Detroit Lions. I mean, not as much as I hate the Packers and the Vikings, but, you can't really hate the Detroit Lions. Even the most hardcore dude has got to feel a little bit of sympathy for the Detroit Lions. But Matt Stafford spent all of those years. I mean, he wasn't just one contract. It wasn't like, he got drafted by the Lions, played out his rookie deal, and then said, guys, I'm going somewhere else. Matt Stafford stuck with that team for a long time, watching his best career years just fall. Then Megatron left. He's the best receiver in football. Yeah, that's right. I think Kelvin Johnson was the best receiver in football. Then he left, and it's just like, yeah, okay, now I'm stuck with nobody. I got a new coach every single year, and I'm still a baller quarterback. And then finally he goes out to L.A., and it looks like Matt Stafford's going to get his don't say it, Pugs. Don't say it. But that's I'm on the Rams now. I'm on the Rams side now. I'm rooting for the Rams. People who knew me when I was a little kid in the 1980s knew that I liked the Rams. Haven't liked them since they moved to St. Louis, and didn't really get back on the Rams bandwagon when they moved back to LA. But as a little kid, I liked the Rams. I had a Jack Youngblood '85 jersey. I had posters in my room. Vince Ferragamo. Oh yeah, Pat Hayden. Oh yeah, I could name some of those old school Rams. I was a Rams fan. You know why? Because my Bears sucked, and all of my friends we adopted other teams to root for because we were getting into football and we couldn't root for the Bears because between like 1978 and 1983, there was nothing to root for. And those were our prime discovering football years. So my friend Eric, he was a Raider fan. And I couldn't like the Raiders. My friend Ed was an Eagles fan. My friend Joe was a Patriots fan. And so I went with the Rams. I became a Rams fan. I liked the uniforms. And if you remember the Rams cheerleaders back then, Hollywood cheerleaders. They had these uniforms. Do you remember the old Rams cheerleaders uniforms? They were like necks, like they went up to their necks. They were almost like turtlenecks, but then there was a cutout right here. it just was great. It was just and there was side boob going on with them. It was just great. I loved the Rams. I love Jack Youngblood. Played in the Super Bowl with a broken leg. It was just awesome. All right, so we're gonna. Trust me, there's other things going on there with football that we'll talk about. Sarah Palin is trending today. Sarah Palin is trending because she's tested positive for COVID-19. And why is this a deal? Because it's going to delay the start of her trial. She's suing the New York Times for defamation. And now that she has COVID, they're going to have to push back the trial. Everybody was looking forward to see, because this is a very big First Amendment issue. Sarah Palin versus the New York Times. And she's kind of got a case. She's kind of got a case. So it's going to be a difficult one. And for everybody who believes in the First Amendment, not just conveniently, but for everyone who does believe in the importance of the First Amendment and the freedom of the press and the freedom of speech and all that kind of stuff, this is going to be a very big case. And she got COVID. So now we're going to move it down the road. And with these cases, it's not just like it's going to get scheduled till when it's convenient for her. It'll probably be moved down like 6 months now. It's gone. It's over. Let's see here. Eli Apple, Bengals cornerback. The Bengals are another team that's really exciting and fun to watch. Another cool uniform. Could you imagine a Bengals-Rams Super Bowl? Pretty cool uniforms. That's a pretty cool uniform matchup. I don't know which one I like better, but they're both pretty cool. Eli Apple, the Bengals quarterback, got in a little bit of trouble because he said on Twitter he isn't sure which fan base he hates more between the Saints and the Giants, which is interesting because he played for both of those teams. So he's like taking shots at the fans of two teams he used to play for. I'll tell you the fan. I know here in North Texas, everybody's going to go, Eagle fans are the worst. And me, I'm an NFC North guy, so my default setting is Packer fans are the worst. They are. But I think we can all agree that New England Patriot fans are the worst. New England Patriot fans, in my opinion, are the worst fans there are. Ukraine is trending. Let's talk about the Ukraine here for a minute, just in case you haven't been following. It is ramping up. But first of all, before we talk about the Ukraine, is it Ukraine or Ukraine, the Ukraine? I don't know. There's a whole, people just present it differently. Ukraine. I'm just going to call it Ukraine. Kiev, the capital of the now I did it, of the Ukraine. The capital of Ukraine, Kiev. Like chicken Kiev, Kiev, the way we've always said it. Guess what? Apparently we've been saying it wrong, because all the people on CNN and all the people that are on all the different news channels, well, not all of them, some of them are normal, but apparently it's not pronounced Kiev anymore. It's pronounced Kyiv. Kyiv. Diplomats, U.S. diplomats have been encouraged to leave Kyiv. That irritates me because I've been saying it. I'm not Kiev, right? That's how it's spelled in English. It's Kyiv. No, pronounce it Kyiv. Kyiv in the Ukraine. It's Kiev. Biden is going to hold a call. This was breaking news about an hour ago, 2:00 today. So right as we're supposed to sign off, but we don't usually sign off at 2:00. Right at about 2:00, Biden is going to hold a big, high security, super secret conference call with all the leaders of Europe, and they're going to discuss what we're going to do here in the Ukraine. Now, if you're not paying attention, here's what's happening in the Ukraine. Okay, so the Ukraine has a government that Putin tried to get one of his guys to be in charge of the Ukraine, but people didn't vote for Putin's guys. People voted for a guy who basically appealed to their desire, the people of Ukraine's desire to join civilized society, to join the West, to join us, to join Europe, to be a part of, all that we're doing. That's what the people wanted. That's what the people voted for. And it's rare because Putin had always had sort of a puppet there in the president's mansion in Ukraine. And he doesn't anymore. And he's mad because, Putin's whole deal for years and years, he's been in power now for almost 25 years, something like that. He's been in power for 2000, whatever. He's been in power there for a while. And his promise to his people, his little meatheads in the street, has always been that he's going to restore Russia to its former Soviet glory, right? So that means he basically tells the world stage one thing and he tells his people another thing. Like his people all think that, he's just going to go around gobbling up all of those former Soviet states that are now independent nations. And many of them are already puppet states. Many of them are already, in cahoots with the Kremlin anyway. So not a problem for places like Belarus and, stuff like that. But the Ukraine, they're getting a little bit, getting uppity. They're getting ideas of their own, especially now. And Ukraine is a big one. And the idea that the Ukraine wants to join the West begs the question, how far do they want to join the West? Are they going to invite NATO in? Are they going to be a NATO nation? Because at that point, Putin's like, I can't have NATO on our borders. That is, although I think he already does, like with something like Finland or something like that, one of those countries or something. I don't know, maybe there's water that separates them. But he really doesn't want to have Ukraine become a NATO nation because then there'll be Western troops all over Ukraine defending Ukraine. So what he's done is he's amassed about 100,000 of his troops. They're right there on the border with Russia and Ukraine, and they're just doing exercises. That's all. They're just out there. They're playing war games. This isn't a buildup. Well, it's the exact same thing that he said 5 years ago when he took over Crimea. Remember when he went into Crimea and everybody in Europe was like, don't do it. Don't do it. So I'm going to do it. Don't do it. I'm telling you, if you do it, there's going to be repercussions. No, there won't. I call your bluff. And he went in and he took Crimea. He took Sevastopol, which is a major military and strategic port there. He just walked in. He just took it. And the Ukraine was right next door going, don't do it, Vlad. Don't. And they did it. Well, here we are now a few years later, and he's doing the exact same thing with the Ukraine. Now, the difference between Crimea and the Ukraine is, 40 million people. So Ukraine is much larger. And Ukraine, as I said, they want to become an active participant in everything that's happening in Europe. So that's a threat. That's a threat to, Yeltsin. I almost said Boris Yeltsin. How old are you, Pugs? That's a threat to Putin's whole plan. So he's been saber rattling. Biden's been talking to him. They're talking shit back and forth privately. I don't know, publicly, I guess. They're fine. Although not really. And the interesting thing is, here's the timeline. Here's what we're looking at here. The Chinese are about to throw an Olympics party, right? And now Xi Jinping, the leader of China, and Vladimir Putin, they have kind of had each other's backs on some things. It's Russia is not China, okay? China is a legit superpower. China is legitimately somebody that the United States of America should be concerned about, and we should be watching China. China is a legit threat. Russia's not. They're really not. I know if you're my age, you think, but the Soviet Union, they're not the Soviet Union anymore. They are essentially a bankrupt nation that is run by oligarchs who spend all their money in the West anyway. They're buying up basketball teams. They're buying up hotels. Those oligarchs exist to rape and pillage the wealth of that country while keeping the regular folks, the great unwashed, living in almost near poverty. You've got this, you want to talk about a wealth, a difference between the poor and the rich. I mean, we've got a big wealth gap here in the United States, and you can hear people talk about it endlessly. It ain't like it is in Russia. I mean, in Russia, there's like a whole bunch of billionaires and then like a million people who are wiping their butts with leaves. I mean, it's like real. So the only way that you keep these meatheads who are, the people in the street from dragging Putin out of his place and, because we saw what happened with Gaddafi. At some point, I think it could get so bad that the people of Russia are just going to rise up. They did it before. They did it when they tore down the Soviet Union for similar things. But Putin gets them all ginned up. Putin's got them thinking we're going to be great again, and they can't, because they're not the same nation as they were. So let's not get Russia confused with China. But Putin needs China because everybody else in the world is like, you're a dick, dude. And, he's like, I am not dick. I am not dick. You're a dick. And so Putin is like, Putin and China have been sort of buddy because although China is a legit threat, they're also sort of on the outs with the world community because of human rights crimes. And then, the West really doesn't dig what they got going on over there. So, and China is big enough that they're not trying to play with the rest of the world. China is just like, we're doing our thing. And Putin, he's so basically like in UN Security Council situations where like there have been human rights issues brought up against China. Historically now, going back 20 years, Putin and Russia has always sided with China. Just like, we got your back, man. We got your, it's like that whole kind of a thing because he's kind of kissing up. So Putin now wants Xi Jinping to sort of be okay with what he's doing down there in the Ukraine. But Xi Jinping's got his Olympics coming up. And oh my God, this is China's opportunity to show the entire world how cool they are and what they have going on. So Xi Jinping's like, don't invade, don't start a war in Europe during the Olympics. That's basically it. I swear to God, Vlad, if you start a war during the Olympics, there's gonna be trouble. Because you can't have all these European nations pulling their athletes out in the middle of the Olympics. And that's what will happen because it will be a violation of a UN. The UN has a rule, right, with all the United Nations nations. They here, what is the rule? I actually pulled it up. I'll find it. There it is, that page. Okay. All countries should observe a traditional UN Olympic truce resolution from 7 days before the start of the Olympic Games until 7 days after the end of the Paralympic Games. That's like a rule that's been agreed upon for a while with the United Nations. So no global wars during the Olympics. And the last thing that Xi Jinping wants is for Putin to shit all over his big party for the world, which is what they're about to throw. With that said, this stuff is ramping up. And what are we, 10 days away from the start of the Olympics? Putin doesn't seem like he's not going to, but common sense says there's no way that he's just going to be that in your face, Xi Jinping, because he kind of needs China to be okay with what they're doing. Now, the rest of Europe is panicking. We've sent a whole bunch of supplies there. The NATO troops are on alert now. They're getting ready to go in. They're getting ready to stack up on the border. We've sent all kinds of supplies and stuff to the Ukrainian troops to try and fight off the initial invasion, which they believe could happen anytime now. But again, the Olympics, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, why would he do this and piss off the one guy in the world that's like, Vlad's okay. He's just misunderstood. Why did I just do a Russian accent with the Chinese guy? Because doing a Chinese accent is a little bit over the top for 2022, Pugs. Yeah, you're right. All right, so that's what's going on. It's very confusing. It is very, what nobody knows. Is this a poker game? Is Putin playing a game of poker? Is he going to sit his troops on the border for the next, it's 2 weeks of the Olympics, we're 10 days out, for the next month in January and February in Russia? I mean, what's going on here? It looks like it's shit or get off the pot time for Putin, but that doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any economic sense. It doesn't make any sense as far as his relationship goes with China. So, I don't know. I've been watching a lot of Ukraine stuff this weekend. In between football, when my kid decides that he's just going to go watch YouTube for 3 hours, I start watching Ukraine stuff and trying to learn about this situation because I'm telling you, this will be an all-out war in Europe. This is a very big deal. With Crimea 5 years ago, he said, I'm going in. We said, you better not. I'm going in. You better not. And then he did, and we did nothing. That won't happen this time. I mean, the other country, Germany's like, that's not going to happen this time. England's like, That's not going to happen this time. I mean, the other countries in Europe, especially the ones that have seen this before, there's enough countries in Europe who remember what Hitler did when he started gobbling up countries and nobody did anything about it. So this is sort of a very nip it in the bud kind of situation, and it's all playing out on the border of the Ukraine and Russia. So we will be watching that. And again, this is going to be really big news tonight around 5 o'clock. Whatever we learn about the conversation that's going to happen today at 2 o'clock with Biden and the leaders of Europe, Germany, Italy, France, England, all of those countries, they're all going to get on a phone together. They're going to do a big Zoom call, with all their little faces. And they're going to try and figure out, all right, what's our next move here? Because whatever the next move, they'll cancel the Olympics. They will cancel the Olympics. That will make China so mad. It'll just be like China and Hong Kong and North Korea. That's it. It'll be like nope. And then like some African nations that maybe get propped up. Some South American nations will hang out. Anybody who China is like supporting their economy, they'll still show up, but there will be no European teams. There will be no Western teams. It'll be a mess. It'll be terrible. All right, what else is happening here? So that's the Ukraine. That's why Ukraine is trending. Cheryl Hines and RFK Jr. are trending. All right, now this is fun. Now we know Cheryl Hines. Cheryl Hines is from Curb Your Enthusiasm. She played Larry's wife. Lovely, delightful. And RFK Jr. is RFK Jr. He is the son of assassinated presidential candidate Robert Kennedy. And RFK Jr., this is why they're trending. RFK Jr. is an anti-vaxxer, right? He's like way out there. And he has found his groove with the QAnon people, which is weird because the QAnon people are the ones saying that JFK Jr. is coming back and here's RFK Jr. You think he'd be like, yeah, that's in bad taste. But no, he's not. He's going for it because he's got a book to sell and they are buying his book. So RFK Jr. is a little bit wacky. Every family's got a little wacky one. And RFK Jr. has, for a few years now, been the wacky one. But he's married to Cheryl Hines, who everybody's like, she seems cool, right? Cheryl Hines is awesome. She was from Curb Your Enthusiasm. She put up with Larry. All right, so here's what happened. RFK Jr. made some speech yesterday where he said that people being forced to wear masks is just like the concentration camps, right? The Holocaust. And the Holocaust Museum went after him, and all these people went after. They're like, dude. No, actually, I think the analogy that he made was to Anne Frank. And it might play for the audience at a QAnon convention, but it doesn't play in the greater world. In the greater world, it's like, dude, stop. That's really freaking ugly. So he's trending because he's being yelled at by, a whole bunch of like Jewish groups and all that kind of stuff. And Cheryl Hines, who is married to him, Cheryl Hines is trending because everyone is being reminded that, and folks, this is really important here. I feel that far too many of us in this country cannot spot a con man. They cannot spot when they are being played. RFK Jr. trying to sell the vaccine is poison books to a bunch of QAnon people is a guy from an uber wealthy connected family trying to sell books. He's just trying to sell books. And you know how we know he's trying to sell books? Because apparently he's vaccinated himself. And that's why Cheryl Hines is trending. His wife is trending because people are being reminded that just a couple of months ago, Cheryl Hines and RFK Jr. had a Christmas party. And on the invitation of the Christmas party, it required that the guests be vaccinated. That's right. The Christmas party of the guy who is selling anti-vax, vax is poison. The Christmas party of that guy that he threw with his wife required you to be vaccinated if you wanted to enter. Guests invited to a holiday party at the home of the leading anti-vaxxer Robert F. Kennedy were told to be vaccinated or tested for COVID-19 because Kennedy said, and this is what he said at the time when he was called out on it, "I'm not always the boss of my own house." Happy wife, happy life. No. Spot the con, people. Spot when somebody is working you to sell you that car. Spot the con when somebody is working you to get you into that timeshare. Spot the con when some guy, some lesser family member with a high-profile name is trying to sell books. It's insane. Speaking to Political, which reported the request before the party in California last week, Kennedy said that his wife, actress Cheryl Hines, was behind it. He also said that there was no effort made to check if guests had been vaccinated or recently tested. I'll tell you what I think is hysterical about this whole story. Turns out that Larry David introduced Cheryl Hines to RFK Jr., and now RFK Jr. is a big anti-vaxxer. I mean, is that like the greatest Curb Your Enthusiasm plotline ever? That just sounds like a perfect Curb Your Enthusiasm plotline, where Larry introduces his ex-wife to somebody new, and that new person is somebody who is the complete opposite of everything that Larry seems. Anyway, so that's it. So that's why RFK Jr. and Cheryl Hines, just be more. What's your move? You know, when somebody presents you with something that seems too good to be true, just always go, what's your move here? Why are you? What this seems too? I know I want to believe it. I want to believe that a Kennedy is telling me all these things because the Kennedys are like progressive liberals. I don't get that either. This whole thing is so screwed up. But okay. Just spot the con. Can we spot the con better? Can we at least try to spot the con? There's a sucker born every minute. Who said that? P.T. Barnum? Sucker born every minute. There are so many suckers that were born in the last minute. I am telling you. Aaron Rodgers is trending. This is a weird one too. All right, you know, this is such a weird one. Aaron Rodgers is trending because he may or may not be back in Green Bay. We may have seen the last game Aaron Rodgers has played in a Packer uniform, which I am all for. Let's do it. Wonderful. Get him out of the division. I don't care where. Get him out of the league. Put him in the AFC. Let him go to Denver. Let him go somewhere like that. Just get Aaron Rodgers out of here. Let him go to I guess he wouldn't go to the Jets, Giants, whatever. Just get Aaron Rodgers out of the NFC North, and I'll be a happy boy. The fans are in Green Bay have turned on Aaron Rodgers after the game on Saturday night where, you know, it's funny. People were like, well, you know, nobody can have a good game because it's like 0 degrees and it's hard to play football in 0 degrees. Meanwhile, the week before, Josh Allen playing in 0 degrees, didn't they score like 50 points in 0? So shut up. Stop defending Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers laying a big turd. They played a team from Northern California. They're from Green Bay, Wisconsin, playing at home in Green Bay friendly weather. And you're making excuses for them. They were cold. They're not cold. They're not cold. It's been cold in Green Bay since late September. Stop it with that. Bullshit. So he's trending because he also gave like a 90-minute, this is ironic, he gave like a 90-minute sit-down interview with ESPN where for 90 minutes he talked about how no one will let him talk. Aaron, come on, man. What do you mean no one will let you talk? You're sitting down here with ESPN. You're saying you're on Pat McAfee weekly. What do you mean no one will let you talk? Get an Instagram channel. You can say whatever you want in this day and age. Well, no one, you know, he did. He was right. He did have like the crazy woke mob come after him and all that kind of stuff. And he was right. I mean, he became like the most hated guy among some of the just weirdest people out there on social media platforms. You know, the so-called woke mob. And he talked about how the woke mob is canceling me. Which, if we're being intellectually honest about this, Aaron Rodgers, a white, celebrated quarterback in the NFL, complaining about being canceled, while sitting down for a 90-minute interview with ESPN. It's just such a bad look when, regardless of how you think about it, the NFL actually did cancel Colin Kaepernick. They actually did cancel him. It's a bad look, Aaron. It is a terrible look for you to be complaining about. Whoa, it's like the height of what those people might call white entitlement, right? Like, I can't believe they're being mean to me and they're not letting me. Colin Kaepernick was run out of the league. You want to talk about being canceled? That guy was canceled for doing, what he did, which wouldn't happen today. But you know what they say. Pioneers get the arrows and settlers get the land. Colin Kaepernick was canceled so that nobody else could be canceled, apparently. Aaron Rodgers was not canceled, all right? He was criticized. And, when your entire life is built around the fact that everybody thinks you're awesome because you can throw a football and somebody says, hey, you suck, maybe that hurts. Maybe that's his idea of being canceled, I don't like you anymore. You're kind of a dick. Stop it. Stop canceling me. Strangers on Twitter are calling me a dick. Again, can I direct your attention to Colin Kaepernick, Aaron? Stop. It's a bad look, brother. It is just a bad look, and it's wildly disingenuous. So that's why Aaron Rodgers is trending. I got no love for Aaron Rodgers, obviously. I'm a Bear fan. That guy can suck it. By the way, the greatest thing, and I won't bore you with it because this is totally a self-indulgence. But after Robbie Gould, good as gold, after Robbie Gould kicked the San Francisco 49ers to the championship game, defeating the Green Bay Packers at home in Lambeau on Saturday night. Did you guys see the video that Stacey Dale, the sideline reporter, caught it on her phone and she put it out on Twitter and it went viral? Robbie Gould, and this is why, but Pugs, you're a Bear fan. My team sucks, okay? My team sucks. And when your team sucks and your arch rival is really good, whenever something bad happens to your arch rival, it becomes the only thing you can celebrate. And, me celebrating the way the Packers lost was really my happiest moment of this past football season because there wasn't a whole lot to be happy about with my Bears. So it was wonderful. And the idea that it was Robbie Gould who kicked it. Robbie Gould, the Chicago Bears all-time leader in points. Robbie Gould was our kicker for 12 years. Through some of our best years of the last 20 years, Robbie Gould was good as gold. He was our automatic kicker. He was wonderful. And then we got rid of him because we figured, you're old now. You're not going to be good. Meanwhile, he's been in the league 6 more years. He's been automatic for the San Francisco 49ers. We should have never gotten rid of him. Okay, so Stacey Dale's sideline reporter pulls out her phone after Robbie kicks it, and she starts filming Robbie Gould. She's just following Robbie. Robbie Gould, again, Chicago Bear royalty. His kids still go to school in the Chicago area. I mean, he lived there. They were born there. His family house is there. So Robbie Gould, Bear royalty, is celebrating and running around. He runs up to Jimmy Garoppolo, the quarterback of the 49ers, on the sideline. Jimmy G just so happens to be a Chicago kid who grew up a Bears fan who hates the Packers, right? So you got a Bear for life in Robbie Gould, and you got a guy, Jimmy G, who grew up in the area and loves the Chicago Bears. It's the team of his youth. Robbie Gould, and Stacey Dale caught this on her phone. Robbie Gould runs up to Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jimmy Garoppolo goes, "You're a fucking legend, man." And then Jimmy Garoppolo says, "Fuck the Packers." And they high five. It was just so beautiful. For us Bear fans, it was like, we can't have it, but this is the closest thing that we get to having it. We get a Bear legend and a Chicago kid. Thank you for indulging me on that. That was important that I got that out there. It was important to me. It was so great. It was so great. I don't want Jimmy G as my quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Jimmy generous. He gives away the ball too much. That's a little bit. I'm good. I'm good with where we're sitting. We're developing a young quarterback. I'm not ready to give up on that. I assume at some point Jimmy G might want to end his career or something in Chicago. That's fine. If he wants to do it as a backup, wonderful. But no, not now. We're good. What else is trending today? Merrill Lynch. This is trending down today. This was trending number 1 for much of the day yesterday. And then football happened and it got knocked down. But sure enough, it came back. Merrill Lynch. So why is Merrill Lynch trending? Well, did you see the guy in Connecticut, the rich guy who basically went off on a bunch of like teenage girls who were working at like a smoothie shop or something, and they filmed it. And well, he worked for Merrill Lynch. He's like a rich Connecticut, privileged dude who, here's the story. So apparently he's got a kid. Well, here, we'll tell you we'll give you the story. We'll give you his name. We'll put it all out there. Why not? He's got a kid who has a peanut allergy. A lot of people have a peanut allergy. So it's a rough go for kids. Kid's got a peanut allergy. Dad bought him a Slurpee or whatever the hell it is, a smoothie. And apparently what they believe, they don't believe there were peanuts in it, but they believe they call it like migration. Like they used a spoon that had just been used for peanuts or something like that. And so there was some kind of peanut jizz in the smoothie that they made for this kid. Something happened, and the kid had an allergic reaction, and it wasn't good. That's got to be a scary thing. And Dad, after the kid was handled, Dad comes storming back to the smoothie shop, and he starts screaming at these teenage girls, "Who did it? I need to know who did it." Remember now, this is like a very rich wealth management guy, one of the top 10 wealth management guys in all of Connecticut. So, and he works for Merrill Lynch. This is a big job. A Connecticut man is facing criminal charges after video footage of him berating teenage employees at a smoothie shop during a racist rant went viral. And it was. Don't be like, "Oh, what do you mean?" Right? No, he went there. He went there for like no reason. Like he didn't know someone had a phone in his face. Just God. And I get he was upset about his kid, right? I mean, any parent would understand that. You panic, you freak out, but you must be able to control yourself. You can't storm into a place and start screaming and yelling and threatening a bunch of girls, right? A bunch of teen girls. And also, can I just point this out? You don't have a right to a smoothie. Your child has a handicap. Okay, it's not as bad as being blind or, being crippled or anything like that. But your child has a handicap in life. And that handicap is he needs to stay away from, peanuts. So, you're the one that decided to get him a smoothie, knowing that there was a chance that, and he said, Dad said, my kid's got an allergy. Oh, no, he said no peanuts, because that's for some reason some distinction they're making, that he didn't say the kid had an allergy, but he did say, no peanuts. We can't have any peanuts in it. But I think most people know, right? If you're making stuff like that in this day and age, when somebody says no peanuts, I mean, you kind of immediately go, okay, so there's probably an allergy here. So he said that. You don't have to get your kid, you know what I mean? Maybe dad, you don't get the kid something like that if you're not 100% sure. But also, my friend tweeted this. I saw her tweet it. She has 2 kids who have severe peanut allergies. And her response to this whole situation is, you're a dad of a kid with a peanut allergy, and you don't have an EpiPen within arm's reach at all times. That's on you, Dad. That really is on you. Again, your child has a handicap. It is your job to protect your child from his handicap. It is your job. So maybe don't take him into the ice cream shop for a smoothie that, maybe, just maybe, the teenage kids might use a dirty spoon that has some peanut left on it. Don't do that. And at least have an EpiPen somewhere. But he didn't. So, James Iannuzzo, 48 years old, can be seen in the footage from Saturday's incident yelling at the female employees of the Robex in Fairfield before eventually throwing a drink at one of them. In the video shot by one of the shop's workers, Iannuzzo shouts threats at the young woman as he tries to force his way into the area of the shop reserved for employees. Here, I'll just show it to you. We got it. We'll show you the video. And again, grown-ass man who cannot control himself. I don't want to trigger anybody, because I know how easily triggered you people are. But I believe the woke mob calls this white rage or white entitlement rage or whatever. I don't even know. Oh, boy. Here it is. All right, let me pull this up. I mean, you'll see the whole thing. This guy's a dick. This guy is just a rich guy who's a dick. And he didn't have an EpiPen. And he knows his kid has an issue. And he shouldn't be a dick. And he shouldn't take it out on a bunch of teenage girls. Shouldn't be. I'm telling you, this is why I said earlier in the show, I'm glad I got a boy. I'm glad I got a boy. Because you know what? If my 12-year-old, well, not 12, but I guess these kids are like 16, 17, something like that. My 16-year-old son gets berated by a grown man who's acting like an asshole. That's fine. He's a boy. He can take it. My 16-year-old daughter gets threatened by another man. I'm going to jail. I am going to jail because I am finding that guy. And, you know, I'm not saying I'm going to assault him, but I'm going to say some shit to his face that's going to make him want to assault me. So we're probably both going to jail. There is going to be trouble. These are teenage girls. All right, let's give this a watch. Ready? Is it showing? And, you know, and some of you have probably already seen this, but let's enjoy it and let's break it down. So there he is. There he is. Super rich guy, one of the 10 highest rated and profitable wealth consultants in Connecticut who works for Merrill Lynch. He comes in and he is mad because he didn't have an EpiPen.
Please don't yell at us.
Yeah.
Don't videotape me.
You have no room to yell at us.
I want to speak to the fucking person who made this drink. Is that you?
No, it
we
wasn't
don't know
me.
who made it,
You
so
don't know who made it?
there's 4 of us here, so we honestly don't know.
Fucking stupid, fucking ignorant high school kids.
Okay,
I
bye.
want to speak to the fucking
Bye.
manager.
Okay, you can
Yeah,
call
stop,
corporate
stop.
whenever you want. Goodbye.
Gianna, stop. You're on camera.
Fuck
You're on
out of
camera.
here,
You're on
you
camera.
fucking bitch.
No, I don't care.
It's a grown man.
Right now.
What? Oh, you're fucking.
I'm calling the police. I'm calling the police.
Fuck you, fucking kid. I want the fucking telephone number.
I know. Here he comes. He's going to try and force his way into the back entrance.
Fuck
You
up.
shut up. Get out. You can call corporate whenever you want.
You're
Bye.
a fucking idiot.
Okay, good for you. Bye.
I want the
Bye.
fucking number.
Bye.
Shut up.
You shut up. You're not going to tell me to shut up the fuck. Who
Good
are
for you, girl.
Who are you?
Who are you
Fucking
exactly?
Immigrant loser.
What? Fuck you.
All right, so that was a problem.
Bye.
You're a fucking idiot.
Okay, good for you. Bye.
I want the
Bye.
fucking number.
Bye.
Shut up.
You shut up. You're not going to tell me to shut up the fuck. Who are you? Who are you?
Fucking immigrant loser.
What? Fuck you. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Get the
Yeah,
fuck
let's
out.
get a good look at him. Look at him there. There he is. Dude, your career is over, dumbass, because you couldn't control yourself. Your career is over. He dropped his Facebook. He dropped his Twitter. His LinkedIn is probably shit.
You're going to jail. You're going to jail, you racist piece of shit.
And now here he comes. Now he's going to try and force his way in.
I want the fucking telephone.
Bro, call the police now.
All right, so there you go. Yeah, so Merrill Lynch is trending because they fired that dude. They fired him. They blew him out. They were like, "Yeah, we do not appreciate that," and he obviously showed. So there you go. That's why Merrill Lynch is trending. I'm afraid to look in the chat right now. I'm afraid that somebody in the chat room has got to be sticking up for him, right? Is there anybody in the, because there's always somebody who's going to go, "Well, he said he didn't want peanuts." Yeah, he did. But yeah, you don't get to act that way. That is not how you're allowed to act. I'll tell you. Wouldn't it have been great if there was well, maybe it wouldn't have. But wouldn't it have been great if there was like another guy in there? I bet he wouldn't have done that if there was another guy in there. No way. It was because he saw 3 teenage girls and he decided that he was going to become the bull moose and that he was going to just, you little stupid girls. Again, dude, you're like a 50-year-old man. These are little girls. These are little teenage girls. These girls have a dad. And you know what? Some of them might have a boyfriend. And I'm just saying, you don't look that tough, Mr. Merrill Lynch, wealth asset manager. You really don't look that tough. You could get your knees broken walking through a parking lot. I'm just saying. All right, so that's why that's what a dick. I mean, I swear to God, between him and Aaron Rodgers, just what a dick. But the good news is that almost immediately by Sunday afternoon, that started trending Sunday morning, and almost immediately I went to we watched my kid and I woke up, and then we went to a flag football game. Sunglasses. Guy who lives in the big house, his kid had a flag football game, so we went to the flag football game, and then we came back and we watched the Rams Bucks game. By the time we had come back, he'd already been fired. Just, thank you, Merrill Lynch. Appreciate it. They blew him out almost immediately. And again, he has a right to be upset. What father wouldn't be upset if you see your son who has this peanut allergy struggling? But also, you don't get to treat people that way. They didn't do it intentionally. How are you so emboldened that you feel it is your right to talk to a stranger that way? Who the fuck are you is right. I was so glad when that girl said, who the fuck do you think you are talking to me like that? And then the only thing he had to respond to with, you immigrant loser? What do you mean immigrant? She's probably born. Why are you calling her an immigrant? I didn't get that. I didn't hear any accents. I didn't think any of those girls looked like they were, from another country or whatever. But that was very revealing of him. And I think that that's probably the reason why they got rid of him. Why Merrill Lynch was like, oh boy. All right. Everything else aside, this guy's talking shit on immigrants. We manage a lot of immigrant money. We can't be having that become a thing. Carry an EpiPen. If your kid has, like my friend, she's got 2 kids, as I said. She's like, my purse is filled with them. We just always have them. They're in the glove box of the car. I carry one in my purse. They're in every room of the house. I mean, if anything happens, we get an EpiPen in that kid within seconds. It's just like, this dad apparently didn't do that. I bet you he's like a weekend dad, like a really asshole ex-husband. We should find out. We should find out if he's, his wife left, because I could see why his wife would leave. He seems like he has a couple too many beers and just, goes off and becomes a complete jackass regularly. Tom Hanks is trending. Why is Tom Hanks trending? Oh, Jesus. This is another problem. Tom Hanks, come on, man. We all need to love you. Why are you voicing a video that the White House put out promoting everything that Biden has accomplished? I don't know. I haven't watched the video. I mean, I seen it and I turned it on. I'm like, yeah, that's Tom Hanks saying that stuff. I don't know. It hasn't been a particularly good year. I don't know that if it's Biden's fault. I don't know if it's just, it hasn't been a particularly good 6 or 7 years. Shit's just not popping the way it once did in this country. So Tom Hanks voiced a viral video that the White House put out promoting all of the great things that the Biden administration has done. So problem one is, Tom, why are you getting involved in this? Why you don't need to, although maybe he is at such a place in his life and in his career that he's got essentially fuck you money. And it's not about money, but you know what I mean? Like fuck you cachet. Like he's like, Forrest Gump, fuck you. I don't need everybody to love me anymore. Everybody's been loving me since Splash. I don't need everybody to love me anymore. So maybe that's what he was thinking. I don't know, whatever. But he did it. And he's trending today because a lot of people are mad. A lot of people are talking shit about Tom Hanks. And I didn't delve into it too much. But all I could say is, you guys, if Tom Hanks is your enemy, you might want to rethink what side you're on, right? I mean, if Tom Hanks is your enemy, that's a fuck Mr. Rodgers. The man literally played Mr. Rodgers. There's another strange one. Ted Nugent was trending on Saturday night because Ted Nugent said that Bruce Springsteen is an asshole, but he has like the greatest musicians in the history of rock and roll playing with him. It's like, Ted, okay, he's not. So he basically complained about, I don't like anything that he writes about. I don't like his messages in his songs. And you don't have to love Bruce Springsteen, but what you have to acknowledge is that the guy's entire musical career is about writing inspirational songs that are about being good and being decent and fighting your way out of, overcoming and being inspired and hopeful. I mean, that's Springsteen's entire vibe, is overcoming, being hopeful, being inspirational. And Nugent's like, I don't like what that asshole talks about. It's like, God. So, I mean, if you're like hating on Springsteen and Tom Hanks, that might be a you thing, man. You might not be on the right side. You might not be on the morally decent, cool guy side. And another thing, that Dave Grohl and Paul Rudd can come on. What are we doing here? I don't like that Tom Hanks is delving into the political thing, but that would be my criticism of him. Come on, Tom. I don't need your politics. Okay, we don't. And I'm not doing the whole shut up and act. Right? I'm not doing the shut up and play, the shut up and sing. I'm not doing that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it just seems Tom Hanks delving into what is needlessly divisive geography. He doesn't need it. So, Kohl's is trending. Not the grocery store, the regular store. Kohl's. I don't think I've been in a Kohl's in 30 years. I really don't. Trying to think of the last time that I stepped into a Kohl's. Their stock is surging today. The regular stock market is just completely tanking, but for some reason, Kohl's is surging. So if you've got Kohl's department store stock, you're having a good day. They're saying it's happening because somebody's coming in. There's rumors of a takeover. So Kohl's is trending. Earthquake is trending. There was an earthquake in Haiti the other day, a 5.3 earthquake, which is interesting because this occurred just a few days to the day that the big Haiti earthquake back in 2010 occurred. So this time of year, earthquake season in Haiti. You guys know the Haiti earthquake in 2010, 250,000 people died. When I read that number today, I was like, wait, what? 250,000 people died? Seems like that should have been a bigger. Well, we don't care. Didn't happen to us. Didn't happen to us. So no, 250,000 people, 250,000 plus people died in the Haiti earthquake 12 years ago. Wow. Kanye is trending. Kanye and Julia Fox. Man, this is so Julia Fox is Kanye's new girlfriend. It's so silly. First of all, everything with Kanye is so silly. But this Julia Fox, I guess she's an actress and a model. Was she in that Uncut Gems movie from a couple of years ago? I think that's what I heard. Where she's from? I don't know who she is. I've never heard of her. But Julia Fox is going around giving interviews talking about, oh, this is like the greatest love of my life, and he's such a decent man, and he's so wonderful to me, and he loves me. And we fell in love instantly, me and Kanye, and we're going to spend the rest of our lives together. Like, she's going around doing that. And then Kanye's going around going, Kim, come back. Kim, come back to me, baby. I'm going to kick Pete Davidson's ass. Kim, I want you back. I mean, Kanye and I, everything's perfect. I love him. He loves me. Kim, baby. How humiliating is that for this Julia Fox girl? And this Julia Fox, is it Fox? Is that her name? Do I have that right? Yeah. This Julia Fox girl is like a monster 10, on the old misogynistic scale from 1 to 10. Julia Fox she is gorgeous, and she is just, he loves me, and we're together, and we're just so loyal to each other, and he is anything but. I mean, even more publicly than she's going around telling like Marie Claire, and then he's going around saying the direct opposites on every news network. He's much bigger, so his words get out there. He is like the biggest simp, as my son would call him, over this whole Kim Kardashian thing. She left him. They got a divorce or going through a divorce, whatever it is. Doesn't look like she's coming back. So he is going around squiring with this Julia Fox girl. She's madly in love with him, talking about how strong and beautiful their love is. And he is just publicly going around going, I still like the old one better. Shut up, Joe. Go ahead. Do your little Cosmo interview. Kim, come back to me. Come back to me, Kim. How humiliating. How for a girl that looks like Julia Fox. It's like she shouldn't have to put up with that. But she wants that. She's in it for something more. She's in it for the association with Kanye because he brings a certain level of cachet, a certain level of influence and power in the entertainment industry, and she likes it. I couldn't even tell you what Julia Fox has done. So this is good for her career. So she wants to hang on to it. She's like, I'm holding on. And he's like, I want Kim. Come back to me, Kim. Is just so humiliating. So they're trending for that, but they're also trending because apparently now they're dressing alike. Like they go out in public dressed. He went out there in Paris. Kanye went out dressed like a leather-clad Batman villain. He was in all black leather and wearing some like weird headgear or something. And then she was out with him also in head-to-toe leather wearing the same weird like headgear. So they're so bizarre. Here, this is funny. Yeah, I love this. This is some guy. Where is it? This is it. Yeah. All right, so this is a guy on Twitter. I'm telling you, there are some funny ass people on Twitter. This is a guy on Twitter, and let's just say that he is Kanye and Julia. He is Kanye and Julia Fox's fashion advisor, okay, or creative director, or whatever they call these people who dress them and tell them how to act and all that kind of stuff. So let's give this a watch. This guy's pretty funny. All right. So again, this is Kanye and Julia Fox's creative director.
Hey guys, are you both on? Hey guys. Hi. I know I miss you. I miss you both. Yeah. We got that Fitting for Julia booked. It's at this Chuck E. Cheese in Croatia. And we're going to bring in this designer who's this 13-year-old Polish kid. And he's like super dope. Yeah. Yeah, he does top hats and pencil skirts. And he sounds really cool and like super lit on emails. Like he's like really rad and like he has a vision. He's also a DJ and a sniper, which I found out, which is like, whoa, right? Like that's so versatile. But yeah, if you guys want to like take a nap or just like talk to me, I'm always here. Yeah, day or night. I know, I love you crazy bitches. I love you guys. Oh, I fucking love you guys so much. Hey guys, are you both on?
He's a 13-year-old Polish kid who's a DJ and a sniper. He's so versatile. Your fitting will be at a Chuck E. Cheese in Croatia, and we're bringing in a 13-year-old Polish kid. He's a DJ and a sniper. God, people on Twitter are so funny. All right, so that's why Kanye and Julia Fox are trending. Overtime is trending because of the way the game. I kind of already covered this, but overtime is trending because basically that amazing Bills-Chiefs game ended up being settled by a coin flip, and that's got a lot of people pissed off. They're like, man, Josh Allen was dealing, Patrick Mahomes was dealing. You're telling me that the game was decided by the team who won the coin flip and got the ball first because the other guy who's also dealing doesn't get a chance to get the ball back? Dow is now down. Breaking news. Dow is now down 7.05. So it's going back up. And the reason overtime is trending is because it's interesting because apparently a couple of years ago, essentially the Kansas City Chiefs lost the same way. And the Chiefs proposed back in 2019 to change the overtime rules because what had happened to the Buffalo Bills last night happened to the Chiefs in 2019. And the league said, nah, we're not going to change it. We're going to keep doing it this way. And look at this. Here we are. And it actually came around and it benefited the Chiefs this time. But that is crazy. That is, they should play the overtime. Look, maybe you have different overtime rules for the postseason. When we are talking about trying to determine who the two best teams are from both leagues, you got to let them play, man. You got to let them go. Maybe in the postseason, overtime should just be a full period. You just give them a full period and, that's it. That's just extended. Or you don't even have to do a full period. You could do 8 minutes, do 7 minutes, whatever. It doesn't matter. And then if there's no winner, then you go to another one and then another one. It doesn't matter. It can go on forever. That would be awesome. In the postseason, it would be awesome. I mean, it's not going to be awesome if you're sitting through a Jacksonville Jaguars Detroit Lions game that's going into its fifth overtime, right? At that point, it's like 0-0. That's not awesome. But I'm talking about postseason. I'm talking about where it really matters, where we're really trying to figure out which team is better, and maybe it's going to take more than 4 quarters. DNA research. DNA is trending today. Why? Because we're at a point now with DNA where there's this big DNA study that's been going on in England for like 20 years or something. And what they're able to do now is they've taken all of these people around the world, and they've had their DNA. They had them submit DNA. And now they're able to basically predict and see genetic traits of certain diseases. Like, you may not even have this disease, but they can look at your genetics and they can go, okay, yeah, you're going to get this. You're going to get this because you've got the same thing in your DNA that everybody else who has this has it. You may not be seeing signs of it now, but yeah, within the next probably 5 to 10 years, yeah, you're going to have, Hodgkin's disease or whatever, something terrible, something bad. And so the reason DNA is trending is because what they're finding out, this English group, is that they created this rule where should they determine in a subject's DNA that there is a life-threatening disease that can be caught, that can be treated, that you can avoid with early detection, they decided that they would contact the subject. Okay. So like if it turns out they got your DNA and it says that you've got this thing and you need to be aware of it, and you need to be watching it, and your doctor needs to know about it so that as we progress, we can catch it early because they know they're looking for it. So what they decided was that they would contact people if they found those kinds of things. But their rule is that they will only try and contact you 7 times. There will be 7 phone calls, 7 emails, and that's it. And after 7, it's like, well, we tried. If your people aren't going to get back to us, we're not going to chase you down forever. And what they are finding out is in some of the cases where they're telling people, hey, we found something. Do you want to know what it is? Many of them, if not most of them, are saying, yeah, no, I'm good. I don't want to know. I don't want to know that in 20 years from now, I'm probably going to get Alzheimer's. I don't want to. And so people are discussing that. That's why this is all trending. And I don't know either, man. I mean, of course, there's an issue now with health insurance, right? Like if they know that like in 20 years, you're probably going to get Alzheimer's, right? Or if it says that, you're at a much 99% certainty that at some point in the next 10 years, you're going to get colon cancer. You know what I mean? If they can like see that stuff, what is that going to do with your medical insurance? Is it suddenly, are you going to get, because we know how understanding medical insurance companies are. We know that they're totally cool. They'll just be like, yeah, don't, it's our secret. We're not going to say anything. Let's hope for the best. Okay. All right. That's not going to happen. You're going to get dropped. You're going to get all this stuff. So I don't know. So I don't know what side I come down on. I think if it was like a cancer thing, like you have a 99.5% chance of developing liver cancer in the next 10 years. Do you have it now? No, not that I know of. Okay, well, you're gonna have it. I think I'd want to know that. I think I'd want to know, because then you go to the doctor and you start, okay, I'm going to come back and see you every 6 months. And every 6 months, you're going to check for the liver cancer. And we're going to see where it's going so that the minute it pops up, we can do the whole whack-a-mole thing, knock it right back down. But I thought it was interesting that a lot of people don't want to know. A lot of people have no interest. Here, I'll read you a little bit of this. Maria Constant, 69, a psychiatric nurse practitioner who lives in Salem, Massachusetts, had been thrust, like many other Americans, into a raging debate on medical ethics and genetics. In 2016, she provided a DNA sample to a biobank, a repository of medical records, tissue samples, and genetic sequences that investigators can use to study genes and their variants in the population and their relation to health. For example, the large British biobank with 500,000 anonymous participants has found rare gene variants linked to heart disease, which may lead to improved treatments. Constant, though, Constant thought she would help contribute to such research efforts when she provided DNA, but was surprised to receive a series of inquiries regarding genetic findings from her sample in the years that followed. She says, I never expected to be contacted since I was giving this sample as an anonymous subject. She explained to the caller that she knew her she said that the person for the biobank explained to her that she knew that her family's medical history, and she did not. Well, okay, so basically this woman didn't want to know. So she 69 years old. And they call her. She gives her genetic information. And in 2016, so what, 4, 5, 6 years later, her phone starts blowing up and they're like, hi, remember that genetic sample that you gave? It was anonymous. Yeah, I know it was anonymous. But hypothetically, if we found something, would you want to know? And she said no. She was just an example of someone who said, yeah, no, never mind. Just keep me anonymous, keep me out of it. I don't know if I'd want to know. That's a tough one. I'm actually surprised that more people are like that, though. I'm surprised. But also, the whole, when you're pregnant, do you want to know? And I didn't want to know. My son's mom wanted to know. Apparently, that's not a 50-50 decision. Apparently, the mom had about a 80-20 sway in that. So she wanted to know. And so we found out, but I didn't want to know. And then it turned into, well, you can know, just don't tell me. But could you imagine having that hang over your head for 9 months? Every fight that you get into, I'm just going to tell you. So that didn't work. So I just went, okay, I'll find out. It's a boy. Good stuff. But I wouldn't want to know that either. I like surprises. Surprises keep it interesting. Let's see here. What else do we have? Here's some wonderful news. The Earth's core is cooling at a rate previously thought The Earth's core is cooling really quickly, like quicker than they thought was possible. They're like, hey, this can't be good. So that's bad news. The good news is we only got like 10 million years left. That's what they're saying. Yeah, like 10 million years left. And, I don't know if there's anything we can do about it, but think about that, okay? So all life could be over in 10 million years because of the situation going on with the Earth's core, right? It's cooling and it's not going to... Here's what's going to happen, because I read it, so now I'm going to sound smart. So like the Earth's core has like an outer layer of like liquid core, and that liquid core spins around the hard core that's in the center, and that spinning is what causes the Earth's magnetic pull that has some... Okay, now I lost it. Now I forgot what I was reading. Anyway, it's important that it stays hot so that we continue to have this magnetic thing which pulls us around them. I don't know. Now I don't know. See, no worry about you sounding smart. You forgot everything you read. At any rate, it ain't a good thing, but they're saying it's like we're like millions and millions of years away from really having it be an issue where we got to worry about it. And quite frankly, if there was something we could do about it, 10 million years, you think people living in 2022 are going to give a shit about our ancestors 10 million years from now? We don't care about the old lady living next door who's fighting cancer enough to wear a mask in the hallway. You think we're going to care about people 10 million years? We don't care. So we are. I'm guilty of it myself to some extent. Kid Rock is trending. Kid Rock is trending. He has announced his Bad Reputation tour. Okay, so this tour is like, it's like they went, hey, all of those people that play your local town carnivals in the middle of summer that maybe had one hit back in 1977? Let's get them all together and we'll stick Kid Rock at the top of it, because Kid Rock could still, I don't know, can he? I don't know, but he's at least younger and he's relevant. So the Kid Rock Bad Reputation tour that has been announced is Kid Rock, Foreigner, Grand Funk Railroad, who else? Well, those were the only ones I wrote down. So Kid Rock, Foreigner, and Grand Funk Railroad are going out on a bad reputation tour, and Kid Rock, in order to sell tickets and create some sense of urgency in the Kid Rock fan base, is saying that this is probably going to be his last concert. Are you ready for the quote? This is probably going to be my last concert. I don't want to be Mick Jagger up there. Don't worry, kid. That's not an issue. Kid, look, I've been drunk and I've enjoyed your music. I have no issue with that. I think that you can have fun listening to Kid Rock music, but nobody's going to think you're Mick Jagger. Okay, dude, that's like a different... That's like, I'm going to end today's stream because I don't want people thinking I'm Howard Stern. Come on, dude. Please. No, Adam says, makes me regret having a Foreigner shirt. No, don't, man. Foreigner, they're fine. They're just dudes. This is a good opportunity. They would be playing like, a Walmart parking lot carnival, if it weren't for Kid Rock going, you can play on a real stage again. And they'll have their own sound. Yeah, they will. And there'll be bathrooms instead of porta potties. Yeah, there will. So, I mean, Foreigner's fine. Feels like you're cold as ice. Is that Foreigner? Foreigner 4. Foreigner 4, man. That's it. That's a good he's a jukebox hero. Nothing wrong with Foreigner. And there's nothing wrong with Grand Funk Railroad. They're an American band, don't you know? We're an American band. Ooh, we're coming to your town. We'll help you party down. Come on. Oh, my God. Imagine the pickup trucks in the parking lot of that concert. I swear to God, you're going to see more Confederate flags, more Let's Go Brandon, all kinds of stuff. It's going to be, full disclosure, I would go see Kid Rock, Grand Funk Railroad, and Foreigner. But, we're an American band. I once watched, not once, this is just a couple months ago. Remember I told you how I fell down a VH1 behind the music, like bunny hole on YouTube, where I just started watching a whole bunch of these behind the musics from like the 1990s and stuff. One of them that I watched was Grand Funk Railroad. And it dawned on me that behind the music can make any band that is the subject of the episode. Behind the music had a knack for making every band they profiled for at least like a year seem like the Beatles. Seemed like they were the biggest band on the planet. They did that with Grand Funk. I'm watching this Grand Funk Railroad behind the music, and they're like, they sold more records of their debut album than anyone in history. And I'm like, really? They did? They were one of the biggest bands in America. Really? Grand Funk Railroad? I mean, I like that American band song. And didn't they do a cover of some kind of Wonderful? Yeah, I thought that. Well, I don't need a whole lot of money. I mean, they're okay. They're fine. But really? They're like the biggest. Come on now. Come on. What are you going to say when you talk about the Eagles? If this is what you're saying about Grand Funk Railroad. There are only so many words in the English language. All right. Cruise ship is trending. Why is a cruise ship trending? Cruise ship is trending because apparently there's this cruise ship. It's owned by a Hong Kong, because cruise ships are the worst. I have no desire to ever go on a cruise. No, thank you. That is, you know what a cruise is? A cruise is a hotel that you're never allowed to leave. You're constantly on the grounds of the hotel, and it ain't that big, and it's just, you eat a lot of food, you see a lot of, and I imagine the entertainment on a cruise ship gets a lot of this. Like, this is the response to a lot of the entertainment on a cruise ship. They were actually kind of good. I thought, like, there's a lot of that. Like, your bar is set so low that it's like, that girl, she could sing. Well, yeah, a lot of people could sing. You know, it's like, I don't know. You're not exactly seeing Celine Dion. Pugs, what do you know about Celine Dion? Absolutely nothing. I don't think I could name one. You know what I'm saying, though? I mean, I just imagine it's just like corny entertainment, delicious food that's like really low quality but good. Like they probably got really good cake and stuff on a cruise, and booze, and that's it. So you're just drunk and you're gorging, and there's been nothing but bad stories about cruises in the last 5 years. I just don't want to do it. I would rather go to a resort. Just send me to a resort. That's fine. I won't leave the grounds of the resort, but at least the resort grounds and the hotel or whatever it is that's there, it's going to be like the size of 10 cruise ships. You know, I'll be able to I won't feel so claustrophobic. In a commercial during football this weekend, they were really pushing the Carnival Cruise Line. You know, it's like Carnival Cruise Line just went through a divorce and now they're getting back out there. They're getting back there. So there's a lot of commercials now about Carnival Cruise, fantastic tours for the whole family. And my kid is watching. He goes, I want to go on a cruise. Let's go on a cruise. And then I had to give him, that's what, okay, son. And that's where I stand up and I start ranting like I just did about cruise. Let me tell you another thing. The disease. Do you know that it's not rare for people to go missing on cruises? Do you want to be one of those people that goes missing? And he's just looking at me and he's like, I just think the water slides look cool. I don't care. So yeah, no cruises. But there's a cruise ship that is owned by a Hong Kong cruise line that was on its way to Miami, Florida. And in mid-cruise, the cruise line got sued because they didn't pay their gas bill. They owe like $5 million in gas or something like that. So a federal judge in the United States seized all the assets of the cruise line. And this boat is out there full. All these passengers are on it. So this boat is out there in the middle of the ocean when the judge says, okay, you got to give up all your property. And the cruise line is like, nope. So it was supposed to go to Miami, but at the last minute, a day before it was supposed to dock in Miami, they were like, we're not going to Miami now. We're going to the Bahamas. So everybody on the cruise ship, they had connecting flights in Miami and a hotel room for the night in Miami and rental cars and all that stuff. The cruise was like, yeah, we're wanted by the man, so we aren't going to Miami now. We're going to be in the Bahamas, and good luck. I mean, that's what cruising is. It's a cruise. It's luxury pirating. That's what it seems like. John Stockton of the Utah Jazz was trending yesterday, and he was trending last night. I didn't see him this morning, but I just figured this was an interesting story. John Stockton, God love him, one of the great basketball Hall of Famer, NBA Hall of Famer, played with the postman Karl Malone. Get to him in a second. John Stockton is a Gonzaga legend. He is one of the first Gonzaga basketball players to go on and do something. So they retired his number, and there's a gym named after him, the John Stockton Arena or whatever, John Stockton Gym or whatever. And so Gonzaga said, hey, John, we love you, baby, but you can't come to games anymore because John Stockton is refusing to wear a mask. And so, that's fine. He was like, okay, fine. Whatever. I'll ride this out. He wasn't being a dick about it or anything. And he says that, he has a good relationship with the people at Gonzaga. They got to do what they got to do. And, he's not going to make a big thing about it. But then he talked to a newspaper about it. And he said the craziest stuff, stuff that makes you think that John Stockton is waiting for JFK Jr. to return. You know what I mean? It's oh, God, come on. Now, I never liked John Stockton because, he played during the era of the Jordan Bulls, and he was a little bitch. He used to cry and bitch and moan, and he used to get his ass kicked by my Bulls all the time. And, so no love lost for me with John Stockton. But here's what's got people just tearing John Stockton apart. He told the newspaper that he thinks that by his count, 150 professional athletes have dropped dead from getting the vaccine. And he said, now, I don't have the exact numbers, but I think it's 150, and they won't tell you about it. He believes like, okay, like my Bulls, like Zach LaVine is on injured reserve. It's like John Stockton doesn't think he's on injured. He's dead, and he's never. That's madness. That is madness. And you look, you cannot want to wear a mask. That's fine. Look, like I said, we're not having this fight anymore. That's you do you, man. Please, let's all just kumbaya. We all need to get back to getting along together. I'm not going to allow that we differ on whether or not, we should take precautions, be something that makes me not love you or want to hang out with you or be your friend. I get it. We are all different. We all have different ways that we think about things. That's fine with me. John Stockton, hey, man, you do you, brother. And I appreciate the way you handled Gonzaga when Gonzaga said you can't have your season tickets anymore because you won't wear a mask. And he was like, okay, I get it. So me and John Stockton both, we get it. But then he goes, 150 athletes have dropped dead in their prime because of the vaccine. Then I'm like, oh, God. We were so close to being cool, me and you, John. We were so close. How do seemingly reasonable, and I say, he's seemingly reasonable, probably because I've never heard John Stockton say anything else, so I always just assumed that he was a reasonable human. How do you say that in print and be really serious about 150 professional athletes in America have dropped? No, I don't. Have we had a professional athlete drop dead? I mean, I can't. Wouldn't we notice? Wouldn't people notice? But they won't tell you is the part that really bugs me. But there's a thing called Facebook and there's a thing called Twitter. And if somebody dropped dead on a court with 18,000 people in the stadium, that's gonna get out. Who's they? What do you mean they won't? Crazy guy. But also, it reminded me of Karl Malone, who John Stockton played with. John Stockton played Utah Jazz with Karl Malone. They were an amazing twosome. If not for the Jordan Bulls, they probably would have won a title at some point in their playing together. They're both Hall of Famers. But, John Stockton obviously has a couple of screws loose. But we were reminded of this yesterday as John Stockton was trending. You guys, Karl Malone knocked up a 12-year-old. Karl Malone was like a 6'8" 22-year-old, and he knocked up a 12-year-old. He had sex with a 12-year-old who. And Karl Malone is still talked about in reasonably civilized circles. Karl Malone is one of the great child molesters of all time, apparently. I mean, imagine that. A 12-year-old girl. Karl Malone is a giant man. And he impregnated a 12-year-old girl. She gave birth when she was 13. So, Pugs, she was a teenager by that. Stop it. You're just being weird. Okay. He had sex with her when she was 12. She had the baby when the baby was 13. Now, here's the fun part of this, because it gets even crazier. Karl Malone then refused to have anything to do with that child that he played an entire career in the NBA with people knowing and it just being public that he knocked up a 12-year-old and nobody said anything. Imagine if this year's first round draft pick in the in the NBA. Imagine if that guy, it turns out oh yeah, he's also got a pregnant 12-year-old girlfriend. That guy's never playing again, right? That guy's going to jail. That guy's talk about deserving to be canceled. But no, not Karl Malone. He was celebrated. The Postman. We all love the Postman with his illegitimate son by a 12-year-old girl. So it gets better, though. So that boy, the boy that was born, his name is Demetris Bell. And he is with the 12-year-old mom, and Karl Malone is the dad who doesn't admit that it's his kid. Demetris Bell never spoke to his father until Demetris Bell became a professional football player. Demetris Bell played 10 years in the NFL or something like that. He played with the Giants and the Jets and the Eagles, whatever. He bounced around the league. Certainly not a Hall of Famer, but he, went out on his own. He made some money. He's got that big Karl Malone genes in him. He's a giant dude. And it was only then that Karl Malone was like, yeah, I'm your daddy. It's Karl Malone had sex with a 12-year-old, and I don't remember Marv Albert with that fun fact during any of the NBA games back in the 90s. How come we just all went, people are weird? We couldn't have been that much. We couldn't have been that monstrous back in the 80s or 90s. Could we have? Seriously? Oh, I love Karl Malone. He's my favorite player. He knocked up a 12-year-old, So what? Really? So what? So that's why John Stockton's trending. I didn't mean to go down the Karl Malone path, but I was reminded of that story. I knew that story years ago and always went, I knew that story, and I just was reminded of it yesterday because as John Stockton was trending, people were bringing up Karl Malone's bizarre. How is he's still allowed, he does commercials and stuff, and he's got businesses, and like I said, they were just talking about him a couple of weeks ago. I was watching a Bulls game on the NBA, and they were talking about Karl Malone in these glowing terms, and I'm like, hey, Charles Barkley and Ernie Johnson, I know you guys are just talking about his basketball, but he's a pedophile, right? He had sex with a 12-year-old and got her pregnant. And finally, this will be the last one that we'll do here. Peloton. Peloton is trending. Peloton's price has cratered again. I mean, everything's cratering. The whole, the stock market is just, let's see where the stock market is now. Let's see. Okay. We've gained back. Remember, we were at 1,000. We were down 1,100 points just before we signed on the air hand. Now we're down 369. So it's coming back. It's, maybe not going to be as awful a day as we had thought. Peloton, they're cratering. They're cratering. Remember the Sex and the City spinoff? Mr. Big, Chris Noth, who's also, it turns out to be like a sex creep. Mr. Big was killed off in the first episode of the Sex and the City spinoff, and he had a heart attack while on a Peloton, and it was bad for Peloton because they saw their stock go down. Well, last night, Billions on Showtime. Billions is so good, and I knew it was coming back. But I can't watch it right away because Billions is a show where I need to see at least 3 episodes. I can't just watch one episode and go, that's it? You're going to leave me with a cliffhanger and I can't roll into the next episode. So I gotta wait now. I gotta wait a few weeks before there's a number of episodes of this season of Billions built up, and then I'll watch them. But last night on the season premiere of Billions, a Showtime show about billionaires, Wags, my favorite character in Billions, suffers a heart attack while on a Peloton. Now, Wags didn't die. This is not a spoiler alert. He doesn't die. There is no suggestion in the scene that he dies. He just, he has a bad heart thing, and he survives right there. So I promise you, I'm not spoiling anything. It hasn't been spoiled for me. I didn't watch it. I was just reading about it. But he was on a Peloton, and this morning, Peloton cratered again. They're saying, that's the second time that they've shown a relatively fit 50-something-year-old man suffer a heart attack while riding the Peloton. And Peloton isn't happy about that. Oh, and also there's the creator of Billions said that this was not influenced by the Sex and the City sequel situation where Mr. Big has his heart attack. This was not influenced by that this particular storyline was written last spring. However, in the episode, Wags, the guy who suffers the heart attack, Wags says, I'm not going out like Mr. Big, which is a fairly recent reference. And that's just because they said they overdubbed that. They after it happened with Mr. Big, they thought it was a funny line to put in there. But the overall storyline that Wags has a heart attack was written last year. So there you go. All right. I guess we're done. I guess we are, I guess we're done. We're going to end the show here, and I'll jump into the chat room. We'll do our little, where I run through the chat room and we see what's happening. Hold on. I got some, okay. Sorry. I got a couple of messages that I wasn't paying attention to. I should have prepared. Let's see. Maybe we don't have to. Let's see. Is there anything new that's trending? Maybe I can just jump in on. Oh, God. Three new things are trending. They just popped out. I don't want to go near any of them. Eric Clapton, he did something people are mad about, I'm sure. Not Oprah Winfrey. Whoopi Goldberg. Pugs, you almost confused Oprah Winfrey and Whoopi Goldberg. You must be a racist. Well, if that's the criteria, guilty is charged. Whoopi Goldberg, Oprah, they're funny names. They both do daytime talk shows. And yes, they are both black. Just say racist. You noticed that they're black. You're not supposed to. Stop it. So Eric Clapton, Whoopi Goldberg, and Don Jr. are trending. I don't. There's nothing I can say about any of them that would even be remotely interesting. So, although the Don Jr. thing, did you guys see the video that Don Jr. put out? Hey, go to my Twitter. It's on there. It's glug glug glug. I mean, it's like crazy. It's like someone needs to say, you shouldn't hit send on that. Don Jr., here's the rule. When you're doing late Saturday night viral uploads, wait till Sunday morning. You do it, get your creative vibe out there, do whatever it is you need to do. Then just, put it aside, get a good night's sleep, wake up in the morning, and then, revisit what you've created. It'll wait. There was nothing time sensitive. The bloodshot eyes. All right, well, now that's not fair. Now I need to see why Eric Clapton and Whoopi Goldberg are also trending. Because if I'm going to delve into there's Whoopi. Why is Whoopi trending? Whoopi is trending because Whoopi Goldberg criticizes recent comments by Bill Maher. Oh, God. I'm not interested in either one of those people. Just shut up. Shut up, both of you. Let's see what Clapton did now. What did he do? Did he eat a child or something? Eric Clapton, who has rallied against COVID-19 measures, discussed a discredited theory that people are receiving pro-vaccination messages subliminally in videos. All right. Dude, it's not just the right. I've been saying this since I signed on. It ain't just the right that's wacky. The left is wacky, and there's little colors of their. Whoopi Goldberg is wacky. Eric Clapton is wacky. And Don Jr.'s just on drugs. He's just on drugs. You see that video? He's obvious. It's like so obvious. There's, Ba-da-da-da. By the way, we are heading into the home stretch of the month, which means, if you can donate to the show, help us, tip, whatever, appreciate it. All the options are right down there at the bottom. We do this every day. Do it at noon by myself. We come back at night. Tonight, 9 o'clock. It'll be Pugs and Parker, me and Parker. As I like to say, this show is just all about current events and talking about things that are happening. The 9 o'clock show is more ridiculous. Just more two guys talking about whatever. And this one's a little bit longer. Like, we're going on 2.5 hours here. Although not true, because the first 15 minutes of the show, it was, oh, God. All right, there we go. Sorry. All right, let's go to the chat room. Let me see what we missed here. All right, I'm just going to ignore the first 10 minutes of the chat room because it was all, can you hear me? Does it sound okay? Is it all right? So that was ridiculous. All right, let's start here. Christian says, my wife and I wanted a girl, and now we have 2 boys. I was talking about how I had such a great weekend with my kid and my son, and how happy I am that I have a boy. Not that I would have any less love or any less, fun with a girl. It would just be different. And it would be fun that wouldn't come as naturally to me as it does with my boy. Like I said, the big truce this weekend was that my son and I promised to stop farting on each other. That's and we shook hands. We made a deal. There are penalties should one of us. Although he's already tried to, I told you, he doesn't recognize crop dusting as directly farting on someone. But So Christian's got, what do you got? You got my wife and I wanted a girl and now we have 2 boys. A girl would be little girls are so cute. They're so adorable. That would be wonderful too. But I would be more concerned. I'd be more worried about me breaking a little girl than I am about me breaking my son. I don't worry about breaking him. He'll be fine. But a little girl, besides, I wouldn't be able to be strict with a little girl. They would but they say that a lot. No dad is able to really be. There are asshole dads, right? The guys who are like, but most dads they're just completely owned by their little girls, and that would be me. So I'm glad I got a boy. Let's see what else. Leslie didn't like our fart truce. I'm sorry. Yes, me and my son, we have fart wars. Although not anymore. We are in a period of détente with the fart wars. Steve says, y'all would be a hit on TikTok. When you talking about me and Bones? That's my nickname for my son. Me and Bonesy. Maybe. Byron, so on tomorrow's date, the first molestation. That was a good joke. That was a good joke, Byron. Because on this day in history, the Boy Scouts were founded. So Byron's joke was, so tomorrow would be the first molestation. All right. I mean, it's an easy joke, but it's still funny. I still like it. Okay, what else do we have here? Let's see. April says, I figured it was Germany, like those kids in Jojo Rabbit. And oh man, I don't know what that's in reference to, but you said Jojo Rabbit, so I'm interested. God, I love Jojo Rabbit. If you people haven't seen the movie Jojo Rabbit, I love Jojo Rabbit. I said the other day, the best movies of the 20,000s. God, you're stupid. The best movies of the 2000s, I put Boyhood up at the top of it. Jojo Rabbit might be second. I love Jojo Rabbit so much. That movie is such a feel-good movie. So funny, so interesting, so unique, so different. Hitler's funny. Yeah. Hitler. I said it. You said Hitler was funny? It's within the context of Jojo Rabbit. Yes, the character of Adolf Hitler is portrayed pretty funny. They don't do a whole lot of the bad stuff that he's known for. But, as far as like his thought processes and the way he talks and interacts with people, the character of Adolf Hitler in Jojo Rabbit is very funny. And it's not a guy named, it's Adolf Hitler. It is, Adolf, that guy. It's that guy. But it's funny, mockingly funny, like making fun of who he is. Just see it. Just see it. Leslie says that Neil Diamond is a treasure. He is. I'm not going to fight that. Yeah, there ain't nothing wrong with Neil Diamond. Yakov Smirnoff is playing. It's his birthday. Happy birthday, Yakov. Wow, the country guy streaming says happy birthday. Leslie says he's performing in Branson now. Bill said, Bill, that's funny. We mentioned it on this day. Ted Bundy was put to death in the electric chair, and Bill Falk says, I honestly expected Pugs to tell a story about running into Ted Bundy at his old radio station in Chicago. That's funny. I do that. Hey man, I'm trying to fill up airtime. I got stories. I have had life experiences that I like to share. But no, I've never met Ted Bundy. But I was at John Wayne Gacy's execution. I mean, not in the room, but I was there outside covering it with the crowd. It was one of my first things that I ever did for a radio show. Man, go out and get tape. Get some tape of the people that are out there in the crowd. Let's see. Adam Rayner worried about his daughter's college fund because of the stock market. That's rallying back. It'll be fine. It'll again. We're over 33,000 for the stock market. We were down at 6,000 in 2008. Since 2005, the wealth of the stock market has tripled. In 2005, it was 10,000. It's 33 right now, and it's crashing. Like, I think it started out 30, I don't know, whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Don't worry about it. The wealth of the nation is fine. Or should we say the wealth of Wall Street is fine? Good movie, Wealth of Wall Street. Albert says the only thing that is going to happen, talking about Ukraine, the only thing that is going to happen is that Germany will not allow Russia to sell them gas from Nord Stream. I don't know. Adam says, did you see that wide open throw to Adam Lazard, the skipped to go hero ball and throw a double cover at Adams? Who wants to be the hero? I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm having difficulty seeing. For some reason, when I was messing around with the sound earlier in the show, I made the chat room small. No, it's like really tiny. And I'm like, what? What? Adam says, I just looked at both my daughter's college funds and they're down 2,200 since January 12th. Ugh. Thanks for making me look, Pugs. I usually just ignore it. Go back to ignoring it. It's going to be fine. It'll be fine. Promise. Promise. Let's see here. Rob Barr suggests I should do a segment on Dick of the Day. We used to do that. We used to do Douche of the Day. And that's in response to the guy in Connecticut who decided to go scream and yell at a bunch of like teenage girls just working at some smoothie shop. Yeah, he's definitely Dick of the Day. When it's warranted, we'll do Douche of the Day when it's warranted. And that was warranted, but it was trending. You know what I mean? Like if I found that and it wasn't trending, then I wouldn't have a natural way to talk about it. But since this show is all about things that are trending and things that are topics, I had a natural way. I didn't have to manufacture a reason like making him Douche of the Day. I think it's obvious he's Douche of the Day. Oh boy. April seems to be referencing something. Oh, I don't even know if I want to talk about this on the stream. I talked about it on. Why not? So my kid is 12 now, and he's really funny, and like he's really funny. Like he's fun. I go, all people think their kids are funny. No, my kid like writes jokes and like he performs them, and like he's like, Dad, okay, I got a couple of jokes, and like they're original jokes, like they're stuff that he comes up with. Because I told him I will never laugh at some stupid joke he just pulled off online. That if he really wants to impress me, write his own jokes, and sometimes they're terrible. But I laugh. I'm like, yeah, applaud the creation. I always say that didn't exist, and then you thought about it, and you made it something, and now it's a joke. It's a bad joke, but still applaud the creation. So he's really funny. And so he came to me. My 12-year-old son comes to me this weekend and he goes, hey, Dad, have you ever heard of F, Marry, Kill? And I'm like, oh, God. Yes, 12-year-old son. I have heard of the game F, Marry, Kill. And he goes, all right. He goes, Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner, or Khloe Kardashian. And I'm like, wait, what? He's like, F, Marry, Kill. So that started. We spent a good half hour Saturday evening just playing F, Marry, Kill. It was. See, that's what I mean. That's why I'm glad I got a boy. I would never play that game with a girl. Ever. But with a boy, with a 12-year-old boy. And his was terrible, like, because the people he knows are not. I don't know who like Samara Redway is, right, or like Jessica Bier, right, or whatever, Madison Beer or something. I don't know who these people are, so I was just randomly going, all right, F that one, marry that one, and kill that one. He's like, really? I'm like, no, not really. I don't know who these people are. These are like internet celebrities who are big among 12-year-olds. I have no idea what I'm doing here. So, yeah, not a great dad. Not a great dad, but he brought it up, and, I encourage him to be creative and interesting and funny. So there we go. There we go. Yeah, April's talking about the Hitler. We're talking about Jojo Rabbit again. The Hitler actor who wrote and directed the movie. So good. Yeah, man, that's Taika Waititi. He is also the creator of my son and my favorite show, What We Do in the Shadows. He created that with Jermaine Clement, and he was one of the stars of the movie. And then they spun it off and they created the TV show. And yeah, he's the creator of that. He is. You want to talk about of like the newer class of like filmmakers and writers and creators? Taika Waititi is one of my favorites. And yeah, he created Jojo Rabbit. He was just amazing, and he played Hitler in Jojo Rabbit. He's so funny. Adam Reyna says, is Mason a morning radio jock? Why are you doing his voice like that? Yeah, good point. Good point. Okay. I think we're good. All right, guys, I think we're good. I'm gonna have a little lunch. What do I gotta do? Do I have to do? Oh, I gotta write. I gotta try and work on this book. Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard to get motivated to I haven't done it in a week. All right, wish me luck. All right, bye everybody. We'll be back at 9:00 tonight for the pillow talk thing with me and Parker, and we'll get into whatever we get into. All right, go out there and compliment somebody today. It's compliment day. Go see, just for no reason. You walk into Pugs is the only thing you do. Go to convenience stores. Yeah, pretty much. Walk into a convenience store and the person behind the counter say, "Hey, I like your earrings," or "Hey," but don't be creepy about it. Oh, you know what? Never mind. Don't. Maybe not everybody should do it, because you know what? There are some people who are they just come off as creepy and it won't work for them, and that's sad because whatever. But it's not your fault. It's just like, a genetic thing where you just come off naturally as creepy. So if you were to compliment somebody, it would just be weird. Just put out some good energy. All right, bye everybody. Have a good day. We'll see you at 9:00 tonight for Pillow Talk. I am Pugs Moran. This has been high noon edition of Pugs and Company on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Bye-bye.